What's up, y'all? It's your boy, Chris Miller G. And we're here live in a virtual podcast. That's right, hosted by YOUmedia Miami and Miami-Dade Public Libraries, where we're connecting with our members, even through the pandemic. Today is a very special virtual podcast because we have none other than a special, he's going to be famous in the future. So better take advantage now, Filmmaker, Frantzy Monreau.
Thank you. That was a dope introduction, man. I don't even know if I deserve that yet, but yeah, thank you, man. Thank you guys for having me for this. I feel honored, feel grateful, man. I'm happy to be here, and I'm ready to get into these topics, these questions, man.
Nice.
I want to feel some heat too. Like, you can ask me some very controversial stuff too. I'm with it. I'm with it, man.
They're going to have like a whole bunch of questions for you. Before we do, if we could have the teens and everyone else, our coworkers, introduce themselves first. We have.
All right, I'll jump in. My name is Colin, and I have a little bit of a background in making films too, so I'm excited to see what Frantzy has here today to tell us about his experience in film. I'm really excited. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Colin.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Vinny. I also got some experience in, home videos. Everyone's been there with their friends, But yeah, I'm also excited for today's conversation with all you guys. We can talk about film and the creation of it and everything about it. So I'm looking forward to it.
Fire.
Okay. This is my go. Nathan Bernard, Little Haiti resident. I go to the Lemon City Library, future artist, future pro wrestler, you feel me? I have a little bit of experience in filmmaking as well. I was actually a production assistant at the Frost Museum of Science. So
Oh, nice.
I don't have that much questions. Yeah.
Snap.
Yeah, man. So I don't have that much questions, but if it pops up, I actually definitely not. But yeah, definitely excited for this one. So
yeah.
Yeah.
It was great.
So should I go now? Or
Yeah, man.
Yeah, okay. My name is Khalil Brahim Hernandez. I think that filmmaking is really interesting. I'm mainly I really like to write, so writing films would be something that's pretty cool for me. So like if you guys have any like tips on that, I'll ask questions that I have.
Cool.
And
That's
like
perfect.
in terms of YOUmedia, I go to the YOUmedia at the Southgate Public Library, so yeah.
Nice.
I don't know.
So before we get into the questions, Frantzy, why don't you introduce yourself to give us a better understanding of who you are and what you do?
No doubt. Okay, so hi, my name is Frantzy. I'm a professional TikToker, and no.
Oh, no.
So okay, so I'm a multi-hyphenate. So I do acting, writing, directing, cinematography, editing, and just the whole filmmaking process all together. Like I'm one of those guys who I go in the trenches. Like I want to do pretty much everything so I can learn and understand every single role. Because I just think every role is important, period. Especially sound. Like sound doesn't get any credit, and sound is like probably one of the most important things in film, period. But yeah, so pretty much all that. Born and raised in Miami. Parents are, straight up immigrants, Haitian immigrants. Came to this country, with nothing. And they just worked their behinds off. I was created. I don't know, like I grew up watching, man, everything, man, cartoons. I remember we were so broke and poor that I would have to draw the cartoons and like cut them out and play with them. But it was great for me, because that helped out the creativity aspect.
Yeah.
And it just further went along, and I just wanted to start doing films more. I think around the age of 12 is when I actually picked up my first camera, and I just went on from there and just kept learning and growing and everything. And I could talk to you about the trials and errors of everything. Also, never went to film school, but I surrounded myself with a lot of film students, and have become really close friends with a lot of them, acquainted with them, and it's been great, man. It's like I have a nice community of film friends and everything. So, yeah.
Awesome.
So
That was long-winded.
no,
Nobody stopped me. Let me keep going.
We're gonna let you roll, man. We're gonna let you roll with this thing, man. It's all about you.
Man, okay.
that was good. So we're gonna open it up to the teens now. Khalil and Nathan, you guys could keep asking questions as much as you like, and if you guys get stuck, don't worry, 'cause we got some questions too. So
And y'all can go deep too. You can ask some controversial stuff if you want to. You know what I'm saying? Don't hold back. We out here. So
I guess I'll start. I actually can relate to you a little, not with the like cutting cartoons out part, but the little creativity. I used to like write books and stuff just for fun, and a lot of drawing. I used to do a lot of that in the back of the day. And I just recently started making music. Hopefully I blow up off of that, you know, because that's one of the jobs I want to pursue. But my main goal is to be a professional wrestler. I don't know if you know, some professional wrestlers, they transition after their careers from to Hollywood, you know,
Oh yeah,
in the filmmaking aspect.
Dude,
Like
The Rock,
The Rock.
The Rock.
The Rock,
That's
John
perfect
Cena,
example.
a whole lot of people. Damn, I don't know if this is really a question, but yeah. What is the best way to like enter that business aspect, you know? So I kind of won't get stuck, you know, when I'm just finished, because you know I kind of want to pursue. Those are like my three main goals, like music, pro wrestling, and filmmaking and acting. So all that good stuff. So.
So your question is how not to get stuck on one, or how to get into like the different.
What's a good way to like start? You know, because like not every like professional wrestler is gonna transition to Hollywood. You know, it has its flaws. You know, so yeah.
I think with what's crazy. Like I think with The Rock, I think he already kind of had those acting chops even when he was wrestling, because wrestling was very dramatic. So they would do those little skits in between like the wrestling matches where he would do like if you smell and like all that stuff. I feel like created that dynamic for him to like kind of step into that world. So I think you have to all do it now. You know what I'm saying? You have to do everything now. Like if you're wrestling, act as well. If you act, you should also do music at the same time. And when you break into one, I think all the other ones will kind of fall along.
So like kind of like automatic, okay.
It'll kind of be automatic, you know what I'm saying? But you have to keep working on all of them,
Of course,
be a craftsman at all of them. But I definitely think regardless of whichever one that you do, I think as long as you try to do great in each aspect, like 100%, I think all of them will fall along. Like I just believe that wholeheartedly, because somebody who's like such an inspiration to me, and I always use him as a prime example, is Donald Glover, man.
Oh yeah,
this guy is he's a freak of nature. Like he does everything, damn near everything. He probably does people's taxes. We don't even know. So I'm saying, like, if you really do it, you know what I'm saying? Don't lose hope for the next thing, because you could definitely do that. You never have to sell yourself short either. So I definitely think the best way to start into it. I personally think when it comes to media, music and acting will definitely get you through the door. But I do think wrestling is important. If you can find yourself getting into the ring and like get into the big leagues in a way, or even like just start doing small little videos and still do wrestling, I think you could gain like an audience, a fan base, and they'll rock with you, bro. So,
Hey, Frantzy,
For sure.
I have a follow-up question to that. As a filmmaker, is it always important to you that the person has acting experience, or if they have like a presence? So like a wrestler, for example, has like a stage presence there, or like a performer, like a musician or whatever like that. Would you cast a person like in a role, even if they didn't have acting experience, but they have like that charisma or other type of stuff?
yeah, I feel like if you're a natural entertainer, you can get into acting. I feel like if for some reason I feel like acting is like, I feel like everything else is the foundation going into acting, if that makes any sense. Like, I feel like comedians are great actors because they start off with comedy, and comedy comes from a source of understanding life. And I feel like even as an entertainer, if you're somebody who like is just naturally like charismatic, and you just walk with like this sense of like self, or the sense of entertainment, or you want people to be happy, I think you have a certain energy and a certain light, which a lot of people would consider star power. So when you go to places, people will look at you and they'll be like, man, you could be an actor. I remember they saw, what's this guy's name? The one who did Punk? I forget his name.
Ashton Kutcher?
Yes, him. So they saw him waiting tables, and they were just like, hey, you want to come through and act? And he was like, yeah. He got like that 70s show and stuff like that. I probably don't have the direct correct history on that, but I do know that it was kind of simple as that. But the fact that he was such a energetic and charismatic guy, and he was just very lovable. People root for people who are very lovable. Like if you're just easy to enjoy, like your company is so welcoming, I think people root for that. You know what I'm saying? So if you have that, I don't really think you need acting skills, but it is important though to if you do want to be a good actor, to sharpen up your skills every day. Like, don't wait for a gig. Don't wait for something big to come up. Just keep doing it. You just gotta keep doing it.
Yeah, like
regardless.
one thing that actors, I hear about actors doing to like practice, the skill is acting behind a green screen, right? So you say, hey, in this scene you are in this world, or you're this location, but you physically aren't because of the limitations that you are in. So as an actor, you have to like try to portray yourself in that. So like Frantzy was saying, comedy is a very good way for anybody to practice acting, especially improv. When you're put in situations where, hey, you need to act out this scene and be quick to come up with whatever it is that topic is, or that the scene is. You have to really be on your toes, like, oh, what do I have to say, what do I have to feel or do in this moment that isn't me, like, oh, let me think about it, or let me see the surroundings around me, or the props that get me into that mode. But if we're talking about like acting, I think improv and like acting behind a green screen is always something that can always sharpen that skill, if you're trying to go and pursue that route.
It's true. I always say acting is made up of 3 ingredients: imagination, vulnerability, and I mean, you could either choose fearlessness, or a lot of people say confidence, but I would say those 3 things. So I would tell people a great way to begin that process is, like, if you're a guy and you find someone attractive and you want to talk to them, that's your first test. You got to pretend like you're not scared. You just got to walk up to them and you've done it. Like, you've crossed the threshold. If you can do that, you'll be great. And then just know, like, okay, let me be this funny guy. Let me create this persona. I think that's the beginning step. So.
Nice.
Khalil.
Yeah.
I
I'm just making
I-
sure you.
Yeah. Hi. Just wanted to ask, like money wise, how much? Well, I mean, I suppose it all depends on what role you have, but how is the pay like? I don't know if you know much about that, but like I was just wondering about that.
Okay, so let me. I'm gonna keep it all the way 100 with you, sir. Okay, keep it all the way 100 with you, man. When it comes to acting, or when it comes to the film world, the pay is good when you're up in the big leagues. It's still good while you're, on your way going up, but you have to be able, like, and this is a very important thing I try to tell everybody who gets into film, you really do have to love it. You have to love it so much to the point where you don't mind sacrificing or losing out on money, because the most important thing is building relationships, because those relationships in the end is what pretty much is going to build your resume, and then it'll take you to the stratosphere as far as like getting paid like really, really well. But if that's your initial thing, you're going to find yourself hard pressed and very, very, very sad, in misery, because it is very tough, man. A lot of people, arts in general, are just frowned upon when it comes to capital. So a lot of people aren't going to give you the benefit of a doubt. You're going to start off on a low level, period, like no matter what. But if you do love it, if you love the process, it won't feel that way, and you will get money. I would say this: should it be your should it be your financial crutch? No, but you can still get money. It could be like a side thing, in the meanwhile, and then it'll essentially grow. And that's it. It always comes to that point, but it starts off with you. You know what I'm saying? Just understanding, like, it's gonna be a grind. It's gonna be like a slow and steady build. But once you get there, man, and once you have like the people around you, you're set. You're doing everything, and you understand the ins and outs, and you're gonna be like a beast when it comes to that. So everyone is gonna just want you.
Nice.
And go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to just ask a follow up on that. So, and I think you're absolutely right. I think that, that you're going to have to start it up, and a lot of people go to film school to sort of, prime that pump really quick, like to make those connections really quick with some people and to, get that experience really quick. For you specifically, because you didn't do that, can you kind of give us some like examples of kind of like the building blocks that sort of came along, or maybe like a little bit of the timeline? Because I know like right now, like you have a short film that was going to be in the Miami International Film Festival, right? Or maybe was in the Miami International Film Festival.
Yeah.
So, but something got you to that point, right? So like, how did you sort of stick with it, and kind of what were the things that sort of kept you motivated and got you to that point?
Man, you know what? This is this question is kind of deep.
Sorry, man. I brought it. Said we should.
So there's a lot of ups and downs when it comes to this stuff. So all right, I wanna fully make sure I answer this question on every point that you just asked. So real quick, so you're asking what kind of? Go ahead.
Yeah, kind of like maybe give us like a brief timeline, but also sort of like, the highlights along the way that kind of kept you like hungry for that next bit, like that led you to where you are today. You know what I'm saying? Because you're right. You mentioned that, you got to love it, right? And there's going to be points in your life where it's like, I'm not feeling it today. Like the project that I'm working on isn't going my way, or I released a project and people aren't like responding to it. And this applies to everything. This isn't just film. This is if you're a writer, if you're a musician, like it applies to everything. So can you just break us down, like what kept you going and like what those successes look like?
Yes. Damn, that was good. All right. So here's All right, so let me just start off with the timeline, like with what I just explained before. So I never went to film school, right? Boom. I really wanted to do film. I really loved film a lot. Like I desired it so much. My imagination just fueled me so much. I mean, I grew up watching like Goonies and E.T. and Jurassic Park. Come on, man.
Me
I
too,
want
me
that
too.
world. I want that. I want that. I want to create that. I don't want to sit back and be like, oh yeah, I'm just. No, I want to make that, and I want that. I want to create. I want my imagination to live. So, you know, I grew up a low socioeconomic environment and really didn't have funds to get into film school. So at the time it was like 2004, and I just remember I filmed a few things on my best friend's camera that he got from his school when he was a film school student, and I was like, I really want to do this, and so from that point, I'd make small little skits here and there, and I'd keep growing and developing into what would become bigger films, short films, feature films, series. So what I did was, because I knew I didn't have the money, I was like, I need to go to the library. At the time, computer access wasn't great. So went to the library, got books on screenwriting, screenplays, directing, everything of those sorts. And I would read up on everything. And I loved philosophy at the time. I was very big on that. And so, you know, obviously, like I said, Aristotle, you know, like he was breaking down like plays, thematics, and everything like that. And I was like kind of understanding just that alone, and then human behavior. So fast forward, you know, I was around a group of friends who were like, we were gonna start our own, like, you know, like the YouTube sensations, how they would do this and that, the third, and everything like that. I was around a group of those guys, which Chris knows, my little brother. He's very good at that, and he kind of went viral for a little bit too. So I had a group of guys like that, but I found myself being like the most hungry, the most like daring. Like I was very fearless. Like there was a lot of times we shot skits, guerrilla style, and we'd get stopped by the cops, and it would freak all my friends out. But it wouldn't freak me out. I'd be like, oh, this is a normal day. So I was like, that's great. I can keep going.
Yeah.
But I had such a fearless just demeanor about me that I was like, I don't care what I have to do. I will do what I have to do to make this possible, to make this dream alive. So that was always like my process. And I think I get that a lot from my parents, because I don't know if it's like that immigrant spirit, but they were like unstoppable. Like look, my dad was on a boat for 14 days with no food, no nothing. People were dying around him. He was getting sick, and he got here and he started working his behind off. I'm like, that has to be where it's from, because I'm like one of those guys, when I'm super focused on something, like I literally am so focused on it that I don't sleep or eat. Like I need to get it done. So it's like this willpower and the strength that I have. And I feel like when you really want to create something, really want to do something, you'll get it done. And I mean, I look at guys like Donald Glover. I look at guys like Kevin Hart, and even I would say Tyler Perry. These guys work.
Studio. He's got a studio, man.
He's got a studio. Like these guys, they really take their craft serious, and they work. And for me, I love to bring my dreams to life, no matter what it takes. And what I do with that is I form connections, I form bonds, I form friendships, and the number one issue I think is in the film community, especially Miami in particular, most places in America, is that everything is kind of like a, hey, I'll come if you pay, you know. But I encourage everyone who's going into film, always trade like favors, like, hey, like, you know, can you shoot my film and I'll shoot your film? You know, I feel like when you guys do that, you create a community. And because I created that community with a lot of the people that I ran across, I was able to create films with like very little to no funds. I was able to create a lot. And by doing that, people saw the work, and then they started investing and investing and investing when I had nothing. I remember one of my close friends, he would call me Superman. And I'm like, why? Because he's like, you do a bunch with nothing. He's like, you do so much with so little. And I'm like, well, that's true. I mean, you got to utilize your resources and you got to go hard. Yeah. And so because I knew I didn't have so much, I said, I need to do as much as I can with what I have. I need to exhaust all my resources to the point where I'm showing everyone what I can do so they can invest in me in a sense where they're like, wow, like he's capable. Even without us, he's capable. And I feel like you have to show people that. Now, fast forward, film played at Miami Film Festival, and it was a blessing because I've always wanted to be in the Miami Film Festival. And I feel like what brought me towards that success factor is that every project I did, one after the next, I always pushed myself. And I made my stories more and more personal towards my life. And I feel like when you speak from a personal place, it's just extremely authentic and people are going to gravitate towards it. If it's coming from somewhere where it's very personal, where you're giving someone stories that really tackle something that you dealt with, there's no room for critiques because it's coming from somewhere that's straight from your soul. And I think that's a part of the process. I feel like when you could tap into something in you, you'll definitely get to where you need to go, and you'll keep pushing for that. I wanted to say one last thing. Okay.
While you think about that, I just want to make a statement, and then maybe we'll throw to some other kids so I don't monopolize this. But I did want to really point out one thing that you said about, trading favors and then building up kind of like a crew of like cohorts that you can work with. This is not new. Like, this is the way to do it, people, and what he said is exactly right. There's a director, and you probably know him, John Waters, from Baltimore. He made a bunch of stuff in like the 80s, like weird stuff. But like he wanted to make his own weird like films, and he had a bunch of people that are called the Dreamlanders who were like, yeah, we want to make this weird stuff. Yeah. There's going to be people out there who want to do the things that you want to do. You just got to find those people and come together, and then you're going to make that thing happen. So
you're absolutely right. You have to build community. I mean, even Disney did it. Walt, like man, there's a documentary on Disney Plus called Imagineering.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing, man. He just talks about like the group of people that he was around, and he gathered them. And whenever there was a problem, someone would like spot it out, and they were like, you should actually put your fences a little higher. He's like, okay, can you do it? And the person's like, yeah. And it's like, when you call somebody out on it, they kind of have no choice but to be like, all right, let me see if I could do it. And he builds like a community of that. So, this is what I want to say. The number one thing that people need to remember about filmmaking or life in general is you have to be a problem solver. Period. That's right. I don't know how much simpler I could put that. You always have to be a problem solver. The problems never end. Everyone thinks it's gonna be sweet.
We're living in it right now. We're solving the problem. Right?
Yeah. So it never ends. You always have to be a problem solver. You always have to fight, and it doesn't have to feel like, oh my gosh, it's rewarding because you're fighting for your craft. You're always, every day you're pushing towards the next level, and someone could always relate to that. And I think it's very important that people know it's good to be a problem solver, because it doesn't only help you out in the film world, but it helps you out in life, in real life. And I also wanted to say this is a very important thing. I feel like a lot of people, when they get into film, like they throw away all their other like values, like as far as like spending time with their family and, you know, just things that are very important in a personal sense. That stuff is so important that itself is the foundation of a great filmmaker. Somebody who lives life and experiences life is going to be able to connect to more and more people. And it's so important that you stay connected with people, you understand human behavior, you understand human life, and you understand what it is to be very human. Once you can tap into that and you connect and you create relationships, you'll be incredible, and I feel like you'll be very successful. And I feel like that's what's happened with so many great filmmakers before us. I feel like that's why Steven Spielberg's films are so incredible, because he is able to create this spectacle of a world, but still have like this humanity in it that makes people relate to the stories. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
Let's go. Hey, if you guys haven't noticed, we have 2 new teens that joined. One of the teens is a brother of our coworkers. So let's go ahead and introduce ladies first. Evany. Evany is in the building. What's going on, Evany? I think you're muted. If you could unmute yourself, see where the unmute button.
She's unmuted, it looks like. Maybe we just can't hear her, but.
I don't know. We can't hear you, just to let you know. But we do see you. What's going on, Evany? Glad to hear. It's probably if on your video chat, just make sure your audio connections are good. I hear you. But we would love for you to ask Frantzy some questions here, okay?
Yeah.
And also,
My friend was texting.
no, we still can't hear you, Evany. We'll let you know when we hear you. We also have Chad in the building. What's up, Chad?
Nothing.
Did your brother drag you out the room and told you come join?
I actually dragged him out.
Exactly. In the work. So.
You're saying you're quarantined from each other, right? Separate rooms?
Pretty much.
Whoa. We're not going nowhere, so we can't hack it.
Yep.
All right, so we're asking Frantzy a whole bunch of questions, and we want to invite you guys to do so. So if you guys don't know, Frantzy is a filmmaker. He's been to a lot of film festivals. His IG, if you haven't looked at it yet, is Frantzy Monreau. It's on our Instagram. You'll see it there. Yeah.
Very, very funky name. All
Okay.
right, guys. You can blame my mom for that. Apparently, she named me after a French movie star. I don't know.
Well, I'm named after a fast food restaurant, so we're in the same boat, man. Trust me.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
So do you have a
an
question maybe for Frantzy about filmmaking or just, working in general?
I'm sorry, say that again, Colin?
Oh, it's just, Chris was going to ask the same thing, but we're going to ask Chad if he has a question for Frantzy about filmmaking or about, working in general.
I'll pick it up. Well, go ahead. You got it.
How long you been doing it, filmmaking?
Man, I've been doing filmmaking. All right, so unofficially since I was 12 years old. Officially since, I want to say 20 years old. I'm 31 now. So.
Wait.
He's not that. I thought he was like 26 or something like that.
I know. Hey, listen. I get that all the time. All the time. They're like, "What? I thought you was." I was like, "No, I've been through life. I've been through it. I know it don't look like it. Black don't crack, man. Be out here."
Hey, Frantzy,
You right about that one.
Shea butter and water. Shea butter and alkalized water, guys. Please drink your waters. Please get your sleeps. Get your naps in.
Oh.
hey, Frantzy,
Don't drink too much alcohol.
you're 20.
Chad is like baffled right now. He's like, whoa, he's older than me? Like 31 is not that old.
No.
31. I know it. I know it seems like it, right? But it's really
He's
not that old.
But he doesn't look
It's
like
not
it.
that old.
It's not.
It's not that old.
It's not old.
It's not old, yeah, because I'm like, what, 9 years from that? So no, we're good. No.
Yeah, it's not old. Yeah, when people are like 25, they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're old." I'm like, 25 is just a quarter century. Are you kidding me? Especially for black people. Cicely Tyson is 90 years old and she looks 12. I'm like, what? So yeah, there's some white people who look really young too. I'm not gonna name them though because you guys probably might find out and then they become very famous.
All right.
I have a question.
Who has a
I
question?
promise you, I thought you.
Somebody has a question?
Nate?
Yeah, I have a
Can you guys
question.
hear me?
Okay.
And it kind of relates to like script writing, you know, so it can even tie into like what Khalil is interested in. I wanted to ask, like, when do you know that the process, like once you start writing a script, when is it that you're like able to start shooting? Because there's certain filmmakers that have like a tendency to maybe like, okay, let me just go out and start shooting and messing around at first before finalizing the script. But just, you know, maybe break down your creative process, like when it comes to like, all right, let me start shooting something. Are you really traditional with having a full script ready to go, or are you like doing it like little by little, chunks by chunks to see how it comes out, and then maybe you go back to the drawing board, start all over again? Maybe like explain how your process is for script writing and, you know, being able to go out and shooting.
I would say this, as far as in general, I feel like everyone should like develop their own formula. But as far as me, I know I have to have an entire movie in my head before I film it. So even if it's a feature, a short, even before writing it out, I have to have the film entirely in my head, like a long gist of the film. And I have an issue. Like when I think of a film, I think of 30 different endings, 30 different ways the character can change his mind, her mind. And when I'm able to do that, I feel like, okay, now I can make this. And usually that process is kind of like, it's kind of on the fly, as far as like, okay, like I'll think of a film, I think of the whole entire film. So when I think of a film, I think of the setup, the conflict, the middle, the climax, and then the resolution. So it's like a rainbow. I don't know what other example I could use, but it's like a rainbow with clouds.
It's like a mountain range, right? Like things.
It's like a mountain. There you go.
Yeah.
It's a mountain. There you go. I like that. It's a tree, 2 trees, a mountain, and then 2 other trees. And I think once you have that with your character, like the gist of that, your story arc, I think you can start writing. And even in your writing, you can just, like I said from in the beginning, once you just live life, experience life, you could start to factor in like certain aspects of life in your writing or in the story at the moment. Even while you're shooting, if you find like a moment that's special, you're like, oh, let's keep that because that's real to me. It's like Robert De Niro in Taxi Driver, like that one line where he goes, "You talking to me?" Where he's looking in the mirror, that's improv. And Martin Scorsese was like, I'm keeping that. And I feel like I feel like your screenwriting never ends. Like, I feel like the movie doesn't finish ever. Even when you're like done with the movie, wrapped, you're like, oh man, maybe I could reshoot this part. I just feel like it's just a never ending thing. And I feel like that's where the creativity stirs up and it creates something magical. The script is never done.
So I guess,
in my opinion.
I guess you're one of those people that doesn't have a problem with George Lucas then, I guess, huh?
Yo, George Lucas. I'm not gonna lie, I really like The Mandalorian. But George Lucas
touching that special edition, man. Special edition.
Yeah, Yeah, I am a fan of George Lucas. I'm even a bigger fan of like people like Quentin.
Yeah.
And other writers, like I really love Boon Jung Ho, the guy who did Parasite.
Bong Joon-ho, yeah, man, Korean.
Dude, Snowpiercer.
Amazing.
I mean, a lot of people don't know about that film. I'm surprised. I'm shocked. It's amazing. It's incredible.
I got a recommendation for you, man. If you're a fan of Snowpiercer, you may want to watch this movie called The Platform that just dropped on Netflix.
I saw it.
Bro.
I saw it. I love it, man. It's incredible. That's the type of stuff I'm into. Those psychological thrillers, I love that stuff. I saw it with my girl. Oh, it was amazing, man. We was like, yo, this is dope. The guy with the knife. All right, digress. But incredible. But I definitely feel like your script never stops, it never ends. And I think when you get to writing, you could craft up a script like where you feel like, okay, this is completed. But I feel like when you actually get there and you find something new, you don't have to feel bad about it. In fact, it should excite you because you can add more to this world that you're creating. So for me, my process is I do the script kind of like a layout. When I have the layout and I get to the actual location that I have, my mind starts to wire and I'm like, whoa, there's more possibilities here. And that's what happens with me. And so it creates more of a world than my mind could have imagined because I wasn't at the location. And now that I'm at the location, my imagination is jumping and it's creating even more of an arc. It's adding more of a humanity in the main character. And it's adding a more character-driven story. So it can make the film touch people in a more intimate way.
Can see that, definitely.
I think Evany's mic is working now, or it was. Now you're muted for sure. I don't know if you can unmute yourself. No? Oh, okay, you need a...
Is it working?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. You can... Oh.
Okay.
Evany, is there anything you would like to ask Frantzy?
Where do you feel is like a place that you can go to, like a safe haven that you get the most inspiration from?
Oh, that's a good question. Wow. There's two places. One of them, if I share it, it's wonderful. The other one, if I share it, it's not so wonderful. So,
maybe the one.
The first place I go to to get inspiration this is gonna sound mad corny, but I love going to the park, man. The park, people watching. That's like my first thing. It sounds like, what? You go to the park? What are you doing at the park? I love going to the park, man. I love going to the park and just watching life. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like you could see so much there. Even if you're just chilling or you getting something that you're eating and you're just vibing out, or you have like a break during work and you just want to walk outside and just see life. I feel like that gives you so much, because the world is something that you cannot make up. Like, you can't make it up. Like, there's sometimes I see two homeless people arguing about like corn dog, and I'm like, that's amazing. And I'm like, I want to write about this, and it'll turn into something deeper, like where one of the homeless people are like, this corn dog represents my life, and I'm like, dang, this is dope. I couldn't make this up. And I feel like that's a very inspiring thing. Just people are very inspiring to me. And conversations with people. And music. Music is another thing. So the second place that I get a lot of inspiration from, because I got a lot of time to sit and think, is the restroom, toilet. So, yeah.
I think a lot of people say that. People say that they get ideas in the shower. A lot of times they can't.
The shower.
Yeah.
The bathroom is very inspirational. People don't give the bathroom credit. It's very inspirational, man. You get a lot of time to think. Mm-hmm. And you're comfortable. chilling. I hope.
Hopefully.
I hope you have extra toilet
paper. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's rough out here, man.
That's real. That's the real message right there.
The real message is toilet paper.
Yeah.
Bathroom times. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Do any of our teams have any other questions they would like to ask? If not, I'm gonna do a speed round of some questions, Frantzy, and you're gonna have.
I got one thing I wanted to talk about just because I just saw it. I saw that you had a successful Kickstarter campaign for a film that you're going to be doing. So I thought maybe you might talk to the teens, if they have ideas for projects in the future, if they're going to put something on Kickstarter, like how did you go about like doing that so that you were successful?
Kickstarter. So when you do a Kickstarter, oh my gosh. So Kickstarter is like doing a school project. I'm just let y'all know right now. It's okay. It's okay. But the difference between the school project and this, where you're getting an A for school project, you're getting mad money for the Kickstarter.
It's $6,000, guys. Like it paid off.
Exactly. So you get $6,000 for doing a class project, which is dope. So for the Kickstarter, you want to make it visually stunning, and you want to put some quality into it, and you always want to like make it interesting to the reader. One Kickstarter I kind of got that example from was De La Soul, which is a rap group. They made a Kickstarter for like their latest album, and their Kickstarter was amazing. It was incredible. And I feel like that's the perfect template for whoever is doing a Kickstarter. Definitely look at theirs, look at what they did, look at what dynamic they brought to it. And I could even send y'all mine so y'all could check it out. And you could take whatever you want, from it. It's all about visual. Like people love visuals, and people love when you give like something concise, not too wordy, but enough for them to feel like, oh, this is legit. Like this person ain't playing. It's no games. And a nice video, a really, really nice video. But the Kickstarter campaign went really well. We tackled the movie. The movie's done right now. It's in post-production. And definitely the most important part of a Kickstarter, especially if you're starting out, is you make sure you want to check out somebody else's who was successful and kind of look at their formula. And then you make sure you get in touch with like one of your video friends and make something very entertaining. People want to be entertained. If they feel like you make them excited for your project, they will invest. And if you're just as excited as you want your people to be, or whoever's pledging, that's gonna win them over. And you could always tell them like, hey, when you pledge, you don't have to give up money now. It's like credit, so you can just give credit in now, and then the money gets taken out if we reach our goal. And you just have to be very entertaining with it. And trust me, you're gonna get money. Gonna get some cash flow.
And I can say that video was very well produced. I know exactly where that was produced too. It was right there in Kendall at the Moonlight.
Right there in Kendall, yep.
My old neighborhood, right over there, man. I used to go to that Regal Theater all the time, to see movies.
Yeah. Did they close that down? No, it's still open. Yeah.
It's still open, man.
Is that in the plaza with the Chuck E. Cheese?
Yeah. Right there in Kendall.
That's the one. I saw All Eyes on Me there.
You saw All Eyes? Bro, I've seen hilarious. I saw The Hateful Eight there in 75 millimeter, like
yo, that is dope. That's one of my favorites too. Quentin, man.
I know. He's the guy, man. He's the guy. So Chris, you have some questions for us, some rapid fire stuff?
So, which by the way, Evany put the link in the chat for everyone to go see Frantzy Kickstarter after. So you guys definitely click on that.
And this
really quick.
It sounds legit. I'm excited to see it, man, because that one-shot stuff, I saw that 1917. It's like You know, that's some
Oh man, 1917, man! Don't even get me started. I love 1917. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to check it out. Whenever
we can talk about
check
films
this
all
guy's
day.
stuff out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see it too. I think I made it done. All right, so you ready for this, Frantzy?
Ready.
Can you guys hear me? Ready? All right. So you have less than 30 seconds to answer each of these questions. You ready?
All right, ready. Oh Lord.
Here we go. What's harder, to start a film project or finish a project? Down.
Finish the project.
Finish the project. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. What is the one mistake most filmmakers make, regardless of experience?
Sound.
Okay. What's the biggest mistake you've made so far, and what did you learn from it?
Sound. What I learned from it, I learned to have good sound. Always have a sound guy who's legit, dope. Yeah, because sound is a whole nother world. So.
Yeah. That I think I know what.
Working on sound until the very end, right? Yeah.
What's more important, right?
What's more important? Yo, shameless plug. Y'all check out What's More Important on my YouTube. It's an enjoyable show. It is a very enjoyable watch. Please check it out when you get a chance. Trust me. I'm not even saying that because it's my thing. It's actually very enjoyable. Yeah. So.
Me and my wife, we did enjoy it. All right, we're gonna keep going with the questions. So, how diverse is the filmmaking industry?
I think it's more diverse now than it was before. So I don't know, like 75%. Is there a percentage that I should give, or I don't know, like 85? I don't know. It's very
75%.
Yeah, I think this Academy Awards put us in a better direction, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yes, Colin is correct. It definitely brought us to another, Parasite.
Right.
Shout out to Parasite.
We all hear so often about the lack of original stories, right? Like, bro, that's not original. I've heard of that. I've seen that before. How do you, Frantzy,
All right, thank you.
stay fresh in the face of an idea like that?
Say that one more time. I'm
gonna simplify. How do you stay original and not a copycat?
How you stay original? I feel like if it's coming from your life, something personal, it's original. Even if it's a story people have seen before, there's so many romance films, but 500 Days of Summer is not the same as, Breakfast at Tiffany's or something like that. So I think it's all on your story and how you tell it. The way that you tell it is very important too, like your creativeness and telling the story. So originality comes from you because you are the only you. So, yeah.
I want to add something to that. I want to ask your opinion on it because you like Quentin Tarantino so much, and Quentin Tarantino is notorious for like ripping things off, but that's almost hip hop, right? Like it's like a pastiche sampling, right?
Hip-hop.
Yeah.
Hip hop is able to twist something and make it new. You know what I'm saying? I like grab like an old soul record, flip it, and chop it into something even, for the times, for the moment in time. So no, I think that's a great thing. I think that's beautiful, and that's paying homage to the people before you, because everybody gets their stuff from somewhere. Come on, that's how we get inspired. Sam Ishmael, who made Mr. Robot, was like, yo, I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna straight tell on myself, Fight Club, yo. And I'm just like, yeah, but it's so amazing. Like, Mr. Robot is incredible, and he did it his way. It's such a beautiful show, and he made it his own way. Like that whole thing where they talk on the side like this, that's his style.
It's like,
so,
like this.
Yeah, they're all the shots are like this. They're framed like this.
It's funny. We teach like, the rule of thirds and everything, but like that show, it's like throw all that out.
It's like throw it all out. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So it's important. Creativity is important. Uniqueness is important, and the way you tell your story is your originality. So we can have the same story, but it affects us in different ways in the way we see it. So it's always original.
Well, that's all the questions I had.
I thought you was gonna ask me like, oh, what's your favorite donut flavor? What's your IQ? What's the square root of 60? Like I was gonna be like, oh dang, that's pretty good.
We'll have fun again. We'll ask you those questions.
I love those. I love those questions. I love the questions. I love them.
Frantzy, I do want to thank you so much for joining us, man. It's been a very dope pleasure.
No, thank you guys, man. You guys were amazing. You guys were awesome. There's somebody on the right bottom side of my screen. He's incredible. He didn't say anything, but he was reacting. I love that. I know he doesn't know that I see him right now, but he's in the Brady Bunch. He's in our Brady Bunch clique right now.
Chad.
Yeah, he has a white shirt on. I'm not gonna say.
Oh, Nathan. Yeah, Nathan. Well, Nathan was playing video games, I think, and like this took his like attention away from the video games. So
He's been
Dude,
cool.
Like, I can relate to you, bro. I'm a very creative person myself, so just based off the things I want to do, you can tell, like, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
Nah, man. It's good, man.
Oh,
I love
very
that you guys
interesting.
Yeah. I love that you guys were all like a part of this, man. That's very beautiful. Y'all should definitely keep that up, man. Because there's a huge lack of that community here, specifically in Miami. And the fact that you guys are creating it, man, especially for film, it's beautiful. It's very amazing. It's very amazing. And I hope to be a bigger contributor to all of this. So,
yeah. I think in the future I'll see a part 2 with Frantzy, especially.
That's what's up. Yeah, we can extend it. We can talk about music. We can go all over the place, guys.
Bring you back. Evany, Nathan, Chad, and Arby. Khalil, thank you guys so much for coming.
Now I see everyone.
Is there any...
now I see everybody. Okay. You guys were hiding. Oh, you guys weren't really hiding, but, you know, now I'm seeing everyone. Oh, I didn't know I could slide.
Well, now he has to have it part 2, so you can actually see what's happening next time. So.
Yeah, because I was like, who are these voices? 6 Sense. So this is good.
Nice.
This is good. This is really good. Okay.
Any last thoughts from our teams? If not, we're going to wave goodbye.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming out. See you guys next time. We're going to have another one of these on Monday. It's going to be something completely different, guys. So come and check it out Monday. All right? Later, guys.
Black power. You guys are all black. I see you.
All right, guys. Later.
All right, guys. Take it easy.